Katz and Cosby, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, calling in today is Speaker Newt Gingrich, and to me, he's always my speaker. And Mr. Speaker, there's so many things going on in our country, in the world. You got Vance was in Switzerland making peace. Great Britain is falling apart. Spain has their own problems. Where do you want to start this afternoon?
Well, John, I think you've got it exactly right. In a sense, if you back way out and look at the whole planet planet's in motion. Different things are happening in different places. There's a pro-market, pro-free enterprise movement in Latin America, probably the strongest it's been in 30 or 40 years. You see a real movement there in places like Peru and Chile and Colombia. Then you have this really worth talking about at length. Starmer resigning after 2 years as prime minister. They're about to have their 7th prime minister in about 6 years. I mean, the British system, which used to be very stable, very problem-solving, has just collapsed. And it's amazing. As an observer, I don't understand how they got to be this bad, but they are in very deep trouble.
You know what I've said to people this morning as I was doing this morning show? I said that between His Royal Highness King Charles and Donald Trump, and they made a difference in what happened in Great Britain because the British came back to sanity.
Well, and the thing is, when King Charles is turning out to be a very competent, calm reformer. You know, he's just announced he's going to release all of his financial statements for the first time in the history of the monarchy ever. And he's doing it because he understands in the modern world, you have to build trust with the people. They have to have some belief in what you're doing. And even if it's embarrassing a little bit because he is quite rich, nonetheless, they're tired of kings and queens being kind of above everything. And so I'm watching King Charles, who I thought had a great visit to the U.S., gave a very compelling speech to the Congress. Cliss and I met him years ago when she was ambassador to the Vatican, and he came for the sainthood of John Henry Newman, who was a very famous English Catholic. And I found him to be charming, practical, down to earth, not very princely. And I think he's carried that common sense right into being king.
Well, I'm glad to hear there's some common sense finally, because the British woke up one day and they found out that they're no longer British. It is only 47% British. I mean, somebody took over their country.
Well, and the level of mass migration, particularly from Pakistan and India, has just been staggering. And I think it's been beyond the capacity of the country to assimilate. And then the elites decided they were on the side of the people who were coming in from outside. So, I mean, there are some reports that as many as 250,000 young British girls have been groomed and used sexually, but largely by Pakistani gangs. And the police for many, many years were actually on the side of the gangs.
Oh, my God.
You know, if parents reported it, they were called racist and told, you don't appreciate the cultural values of your neighbors. And it's truly a scandal. I read a guy named Mark Stein, who I find to be remarkably helpful. He wrote a book years ago called America Alone, and he's been probably the best observer of how sick Britain has gotten. And you look at this stuff and you just think, and you're seeing now, by the way, a big reaction by the British people. I mean, for the first time in a long time, people are going back to flying their national flags, to a sense of we want to take our country back. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this unfolds. But for the moment, you have a conservative party which has collapsed. There are now 3 different conservative parties. You have the Reform, the Relief, and the traditional conservatives. You have a Labour Party with a huge majority. I mean, Starmer, to his credit, had won an enormous majority 2 years ago. but he didn't know how to govern. Nobody trusted him, and his support just collapsed. And so they have a mayor in the Midlands who was very popular in Manchester. He stepped down as mayor, ran in a special election, won last week, is coming to Parliament, and the minute he won, Starmer was gone. Nobody was going to stay with Starmer. So who do
you think the next prime minister is going to be? Do we have any indication?
Yeah, it's going to be. My mind's gone blank. It's going to be the mayor of Manchester, who just won the seat.
Gotcha. Understand. Now let's talk about Iran. You live in Switzerland too, and everything was going on in Switzerland. And give us the pulse of the situation, what's going on with Iran with the negotiation.
Well, I have to say, by the way, that Cliff and I had a great privilege last week because we met President Trump when he landed in Geneva on the way to the G7, and he just randomly invited us to join him in Marine One. So we actually flew into France with him, and then we had to figure out a way to get back to Geneva. But I think J.D. Vance is trying to lock down the beginning of an agreement. John, look, let me be an optimist for a half minute. We're going to have to manage aggressively a relationship with the religious dictatorship, maybe for 20 or 30 years. This is not like World War II, where we crushed Hitler, we crushed the Japanese, the Italians collapsed. We have bruised them pretty badly. We have their attention. They are afraid of us in the sense that they're going to be cautious, but they're not deathly afraid of us. They're not convinced that we would take them out. And frankly, I try to remind people, this is a country the size of Texas, California, Montana, and Illinois combined. It's 90 million people. We don't want to try. Trump has been right to say, yeah, we can use air power, but we're not putting ground troops in there.
Yes.
It would be a really big project.
It would be a big mistake, I think, to put ground troops in.
That's right. So what we're trying to do, and he's not getting any credit from the people who hate him, but what he's trying to do is get as many concessions as he can while only using air power. And he's a little bit handicapped, oddly enough, because he's the leader of a coalition. It's not Trump by himself.
Yes.
But it's Trump plus Saudi Arabia, plus Israel, plus Qatar, plus Kuwait, plus Bahrain, plus the UAE.
But we're almost out of time, but we're making progress. Is that the good news?
Yeah, I think on balance, from what we've seen in the last 2 weeks, we are beginning to make progress in forcing the dictatorship to change some. But the old Reagan rule of trust but verify applies 100 times to this problem.
Speaker Newt Gingrich, thank you so much for your wisdom and your common sense, and thank you for what you're doing for America.
Right. Glad to do it. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.